The alarm wailed across the Alteran colony for the 17th day straight. Commander Lyra Quinn fought back exhaustion as she climbed the steps to the communications tower. The elevator had stopped working 3 days ago when the Vex car destroyed the colony's main power plant. Emergency generators kept life support and basic communications running, but little else. From the viewport at the top of the tower, Lyra could see the full extent of the destruction. What had once been a thriving settlement of 30,000 Alterans was now a landscape of crumbled buildings and smoking craters. The shimmering dome that protected what remained of the colony flickered weakly, its energy reserves nearly depleted. Flash of light in the sky made her flinch. Another Vexcar ship was entering the atmosphere. This one was smaller than their main warships, probably a scout checking to see if the colony was ready to surrender. The Vexcar never communicated their demands or intentions. They simply arrived 3 weeks ago and began methodically destroying everything. "Commander, you need to see this," called Mason Clark from his station at the communications array. The chief engineer's face was streaked with dirt and dried blood from a wound he'd received during yesterday's bombing. "The shield projectors are failing faster than we predicted. We have 18 hours at most before complete collapse." Lyra closed her eyes briefly. 18 hours, not even a full day. "Any response to our distress calls?" she asked. Though she already knew the answer, Mason shook his head. "Nothing from the nearby Alteran outposts. The Vexcar hit them first. We've been broadcasting on all frequencies, including the old Earth channels, but..." He shrugged. "Earth is 6 light years away. Even if they got our message today, they couldn't possibly reach us in time." Talia Rivera entered the control room, her security uniform torn and dirty. As head of colony security, she'd been coordinating what little defense they could muster with outdated weapons and exhausted personnel. "We lost the eastern sector," Talia reported flatly. "The Vexcar didn't even send ground troops. They just targeted the buildings from orbit until nothing was left standing. 23 more dead, 41 injured." Lyra nodded, adding the numbers to the mental tally she kept. Over 8,000 dead already. The medical facilities were overflowing with the injured. "What about the evacuation ships?" Lyra asked. 5. "Left before the Vexcar destroyed our spaceport," Talia said. "We don't know if any made it out of the system. The last emergency shuttle is prepped and ready, but it can only hold 30 people. It should take the children," Mason suggested quietly. Lyra moved to the communications console, checking the automated distress signal once more. The Alterans had maintained peaceful relations with humans since first contact 40 years ago. The humans had been friendly, but seemed technologically behind the Alterans in space travel and weapons. Still, Earth was their closest ally in this sector of space. "Keep broadcasting," she ordered. "Widen the frequency range and boost the signal strength. Use whatever power you need to." "That will drain the shields even faster," Mason warned. "It doesn't matter if our shields last 18 hours or 15 if no help is coming," Lyra replied. "We need to try everything." The building shook as another explosion hit nearby. Dust rained down from the ceiling. "Commander," called one of the younger technicians, "I'm picking up unusual energy readings from the edge of the system." "Vexcar reinforcements?" Talia asked, her hand moving to her sidearm out of habit, though it would be useless against their attackers. "No," the technician said, confusion in his voice. "The signature is different. I've never seen anything like it." Lyra moved to his station, studying the readings. "Put it on the main screen." The large display at the front of the room flickered to life, showing the space at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. At first, there was nothing unusual, just the distant stars and the faint outline of the system's outer planets. Then space itself seemed to ripple. "What is that?" Mason whispered. A point of light appeared, rapidly expanding into what looked like a tear in the fabric of space, and through that tear came a ship. Then another. Then another. "Magnify," Lyra ordered, her heart pounding. The image zoomed in on the lead vessel. It was massive, easily twice the size of the largest Vexcar warship. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, with blue running lights along its length. and on its side was a symbol Lyra recognized immediately, the insignia of Earth. They came. She breathed, hardly daring to believe it. Earth actually came. That's impossible, Talia said, shaking her head. Earth doesn't have ships like that, and they certainly don't have the technology to cross 6 light-years in 2 weeks. But the evidence was right in front of them. Not just one Earth ship, but 15 of them, spreading out in a clearly practiced formation as they entered the system. The Vexcar are reacting, reported another technician. Their ships are breaking orbit, moving to intercept. The largest Vexcar vessel, a dreadnought that had been positioned above the colony for days, began to turn away from the planet. Open a channel to the Earth vessels, Lyra ordered. Channel open, Mason confirmed after a moment. This is Commander Lyra Quinn of the Alteran colony on Proxima Centauri B, she said, her voice stronger than it had been in days. We are under attack by an unknown species we've designated as the Vexcar. Our shields are failing and we have thousands of wounded. Please respond. For several long seconds there was no answer. Then a voice came through, calm and confident. Commander Quinn, this is Captain Paul Everett of the Earth Defense Force vessel Relentless. We received your distress call. Hold position and maintain what defenses you have. We'll handle the Vexcar. Lyra exchanged shocked looks with Mason and Talia. Earth Defense Force? Since when did Earth have a defense force with ships like these? Captain Everett, she responded. We appreciate your assistance, but you should know the Vexcar are extremely dangerous. Their weapons and shields are beyond anything we've encountered before. There was a brief pause before Captain Everett replied, a hint of grim amusement in his voice. So are ours, Commander. Earth hasn't been idle these past decades. We've been watching, learning, and preparing. The Vexcar are about to discover they've made a serious miscalculation. As if to emphasize his words, the Earth vessels accelerated toward the approaching Vexcar ships. From the colony's viewpoint, it looked like tiny insects challenging massive predators. But then the lead Earth ship fired some kind of weapon, and a Vexcar cruiser simply came apart in a blinding flash of light. My God, Mason whispered. What kind of weapons are those? On the screen, the battle was fully joined now. The Earth ships moved with astonishing speed and coordination, their weapons tearing through Vexcar shields that had easily withstood everything the Alterans could throw at them. A cheer went up in the control room as they watched a second Vexcar ship explode. Then a third. The colony's sensors could barely keep up with the battle unfolding above them. Commander, called out a young Alteran woman, tears streaming down her face. I just received a transmission from Captain Everett. He says Earth ships are preparing to land with medical supplies and support personnel. They're asking for landing coordinates. Lyra felt her own eyes welling up with tears. After 17 days of watching her people die, of sending desperate pleas for help into the void, salvation had arrived from the most unexpected source. Tell them, she said, her voice breaking slightly. Tell them they can land anywhere they want. As the Alterans watched in awe, the night sky above their colony lit up with explosions as Earth's warships, previously unknown and unimagined, darkened the skies and brought with them not just rescue, but retribution. Captain Paul Everett stood on the bridge of the EDF Relentless as his ship emerged from the jump point near Proxima Centauri. He was 42 years old, with short brown hair and alert blue eyes that missed nothing. He had trained for this moment, his entire career, but nothing could fully prepare anyone for humanity's first interstellar battle. All ships accounted for, reported Lieutenant Samantha Diaz from the tactical station. She was young but steady, her fingers moving quickly over the controls as she assessed the situation. Vexcar vessels detected in orbit around the colony planet. They appear to be disrupting formation to respond to our arrival. Good, Everett said. They're surprised. Let's keep them that way. Battle Formation Delta. Target the nearest Vexcar cruiser. Around the Relentless, the other 14 Earthships moved into position with practiced precision. They formed a 3-dimensional spearhead with the Relentless at its tip. Open a channel to the colony, Everett ordered. The communications officer worked her controls. Channel open, sir. "This is Captain Paul Everett of the Earth Defense Force vessel Relentless," he said clearly. "We received your distress call. Hold position and maintain what defenses you have. We'll handle the Vexcar." There was a brief pause before a female voice responded. She sounded exhausted but hopeful. "Captain Everett, this is Commander Lyra, Quinn of the Alteran colony. We appreciate your assistance, but you should know the Vexcar are extremely dangerous. Their weapons and shields are beyond anything we've encountered before." Everett allowed himself a small smile. "So are ours, Commander. Earth hasn't been idle these past decades. We've been watching, learning, and preparing. The Vexcar are about to discover they've made a serious miscalculation." He nodded to Lieutenant Diaz, who understood the signal. "All weapon systems online. Target locked on Vexcar cruiser designation Alpha 3. Fire," Everett ordered. The Relentless shuddered slightly as its main weapon discharged. A beam of concentrated energy, invisible except at the point of impact, struck the Vexcar cruiser. For a moment, the alien ship's shields flared bright purple as they tried to absorb the attack. Then they failed completely, and the beam cut through the ship's hull. The cruiser broke apart in a soundless explosion that lit up space around it. "Direct hit," Diaz reported. "Target destroyed." "The Vexcar dreadnought is powering weapons," called out another officer. "They're targeting the Relentless." "Evasive pattern Omega," Everett ordered calmly. "All ships engage your designated targets." The bridge crew moved with focused efficiency as the massive Earth warship turned to avoid the incoming Vexcar attack. All around them, the rest of the Earth fleet engaged the alien vessels. Space lit up with weapons fire and explosions. "Vexcar energy signature is spiking," warned Diaz. "They're firing their main weapon." A massive beam of red energy shot from the Vexcar dreadnought toward the Relentless. It struck the Earth ship's shields, which flared blue under the impact. "Shield status?" Everett asked. "Holding at 87%, reported the shield officer. "The Vexcar weapon is powerful, but our systems are compensating." Everett nodded. "Return fire, target their weapon ports." The Relentless fired again, this time sending 3 smaller beams that struck the dreadnought's main gun. The massive weapon sparked and went dark. "Send in the fighter squadrons," Everett ordered. "Tell them to focus on the smaller Vexcar ships." From the launch bays of 3 Earth vessels, dozens of small fighter craft emerged. They were fast and agile, piloted by Earth's best. They streaked toward the smaller Vexcar vessels, firing precision weapons that targeted vulnerable points, identified by Earth's intelligence analysis. "Captain," called the communications officer, "we're receiving transmissions from the Vexcar ships. They appear to be communicating with each other, but it's not in any language our systems recognize." "They're coordinating," Everett said. "Lieutenant Diaz, predict their next formation and target accordingly." Diaz studied her display. "I think they're going to try to surround us, sir. Classic encirclement tactic. Not if we break their line." "First," Everett replied, "signal the Mitchell and the Jackson to focus fire on these coordinates." He marked a point on the tactical display where several Vexcar ships were clustering. The 2 Earth ships immediately redirected their fire. Their combined attack destroyed 2 more Vexcar vessels and damaged a 3rd. The alien formation broke apart, their encirclement strategy disrupted. "Sir," reported the sensor officer, "I'm detecting energy buildups in the remaining Vexcar ships. They might be preparing to jump away." Everett frowned. "We can't let them escape to warn others. Target their engines." On the main view screen, he could see the Vexcar dreadnought turning away from the battle. Its hull was scorched and damaged where Earth weapons had struck it, but it was still operational. Around it, the smaller Vexcar vessels were moving to provide cover for their flagship's retreat. "They're protecting their commander," Everett observed. "Interesting. Diaz, can we get a shot through their defensive screen?" Diaz studied her display. "There's a gap between those 2 escort ships if we time it right." "Do it," Everett ordered. The Relentless moved forward, its powerful engines pushing it through space faster than anything the Alterans had ever built. The ship lined up its shot and fired directly at the gap in the Vexcar formation. The beam passed between the escort ships and struck the dreadnought's engine section. There was a bright flash as the engine exploded, sending the massive ship spinning out of control. Direct hit on their main propulsion. Diaz reported with satisfaction. The dreadnought is disabled. What about the other ships? Everett asked. 3 are attempting to escape. The Mitchell and the Dawson are in pursuit. Everett watched the tactical display as the 2 Earth ships chased down the fleeing Vexcar vessels. One by one, they were either destroyed or disabled. Captain, called the communications officer. Incoming transmission from Admiral Harrison. Put him through, Everett said. Admiral Harrison's face appeared on the screen. He looked pleased, but restrained. Good work, Captain. Status report? The Vexcar fleet is neutralized, Everett reported. We've destroyed 11 of their ships and disabled 7 others, including their dreadnought. 5 of our vessels have sustained damage, but all systems remain operational. No casualties. Harrison nodded. Excellent. Begin recovery operations. I want prisoners taken from the disabled ships for questioning, and send medical teams down to the colony immediately. Yes, sir, Everett confirmed. What about the disabled Vexcar ships? Secure them for study, Harrison ordered. Their technology may give us insights into their capabilities and intentions. As the transmission ended, Everett turned to his first officer. Prepare boarding parties for the disabled Vexcar vessels, full containment protocols, and get those medical teams planetside as quickly as possible. The first officer nodded and moved away to carry out the orders. Everett looked out at the viewport at the scene before him. The space around Proxima Centauri was now filled with the wreckage of Vexcar ships. Earth vessels moved among them, their running lights shining against the darkness of space. Below them, the Alterran colony was visible on the planet's surface, its flickering shield now stabilized by emergency power sent from the Earth fleet. Open a channel to Commander Quinn, he said. When the Alterran commander's face appeared on screen, she looked stunned but relieved. Captain Everett, I don't know how to thank you. You've saved what's left of our colony. Help is on the way, Commander, he assured her. Medical teams will be landing within the hour. We'll get your people the care they need. How did you do it? She asked. The Vexcar ships. They were so powerful, and Earth never showed signs of having this kind of technology. Everett smiled slightly. That was the point, Commander. Sometimes it's better if potential enemies underestimate you. As Earth ships moved to secure the area and landing craft prepared to descend to the colony, Everett knew that the galaxy would soon be asking many questions about humanity's sudden show of force. The secret of Earth's true technological capabilities was now revealed, and there would be no going back. But that had always been part of the plan. Reveal Earth's strength only, when necessary, and do it in a way that sent a clear message. We protect our own. 6 hours before the Earth ships arrived at Proxima Centauri, Admiral Scott Harrison stood in the war room deep beneath Spacecom headquarters in Colorado. He was a tall man with gray hair, cut short in military fashion. His face showed the lines of someone who had made difficult decisions for decades. Around him, officers moved with purpose, preparing for humanity's first interstellar military operation. Holographic displays filled the room with images of the Alterran colony and the attacking Vexcar ships. The distress signals had reached Earth 2 days ago, traveling faster than light through quantum channels that Earth had secretly developed, but never shared with their alien allies. Admiral, the 7th Fleet reports ready for jump, said Commander Olivia West. She was Harrison's second-in-command, a woman whose calm efficiency had earned her the nickname Ice Queen among the junior officers. Harrison nodded. And our intelligence on the Vexcar? Lieutenant Gregory Ellis stepped forward. He was younger than most officers in the room, but his brilliance in analyzing alien technology had made him invaluable. The Vexcar ships use a shield frequency that cycles every 12.7 seconds. Our weapons can penetrate their shields if we time our attacks to match the frequency shifts. They've never encountered humans in combat before? Harrison asked. No, sir, Ellis confirmed. According to our long-range scans, they've attacked 3 other peaceful species in the last year. In each case, they hit quickly and without warning. No attempts at communication or negotiation. Harrison's eyes narrowed. For 20 years, Earth had hidden its true technological capabilities from the rest of the galaxy. While maintaining friendly relations with species like the Alterrans, They had secretly built up their military strength, developing technologies that other races believed were centuries beyond human capability. It had been a controversial decision back when it was made. Many argued that Earth should openly share its advancements and join the wider galactic community as equals. But others, Harrison among them, insisted on caution. Humanity's history was full of encounters where technologically superior civilizations destroyed less advanced ones. They would not let that happen to Earth. "Show me the colony status," Harrison ordered. A new hologram appeared, showing the devastation on Proxima Centauri b. Buildings lay in ruins. The protective dome over the main settlement flickered weakly. Bodies could be seen in the streets. Harrison's jaw tightened. The Alterans had always been good neighbors to humanity. They had shared cultural and scientific knowledge, though Earth had carefully controlled what technological information they provided in return. They were peaceful explorers who had never developed significant weapons or defenses. They didn't deserve this. "How many civilians left in the colony?" he asked. "Approximately 22,000, Commander West answered. "They've lost about 8,000 already. Their shield will fail within the next day, and when it does..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Harrison walked around the holographic display, studying the positions of the Vexcar ships. There were 23 of them, ranging from small fighters to one massive dreadnought. Against them, Earth would send 15 warships, each carrying technology that had been developed in secret labs over decades. Captain Everett will lead the fleet, Harrison decided. He's our best tactical commander. "The President is asking for an update," said an aide, holding out a secure tablet. Harrison took it and read the message. The President was nervous, as any leader would be when committing forces to humanity's first interstellar battle. The message ended with a simple question. "Are you certain this is necessary?" Harrison typed his reply. "The Vexcar will not stop. With the Alterans. Sooner or later they will find Earth. Better to face them now on our terms while saving our allies." He handed the tablet back to the aide. "Send that, and inform all fleet commanders. Operation Dark Sky is a go. Jump point, in 30 minutes. As the aide hurried away, Harrison turned to Commander West. "Prepare the medical ships as well. The Alterans will need help." "Yes, sir," she replied. "And the Vexcar prisoners, if we capture any?" Harrison's expression was grim. "Full quantum scanning and containment. I want to know everything about them. Why they're attacking peaceful worlds, what their long-term goals are, and most importantly, how many more of them are out there." On the main screen, the image shifted to show Earth's fleet in orbit. The ships were massive, their dark hulls designed to absorb enemy scanning attempts. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering and the result of reverse engineering, technology from crashed alien ships that governments had kept secret for over a century. Lieutenant Ellis approached with another tablet. "Sir, final intelligence report. The Vexcar appear to be using some form of biomechanical technology. Their ships may actually be partly alive." Harrison frowned. "Explain." "Their hulls show signs of self-repair, almost like healing, and their weapon systems seem to adapt after prolonged exposure to a single attack type. Have you shared this with the fleet commanders?" "Yes, sir. Captain Everett suggests varying attack patterns and weapons to prevent adaptation." Harrison nodded. "Approved." As the final minutes ticked down before the jump, Harrison stared at the image of the battered Alteran colony. In all of humanity's planning and preparation for threats from space, they had never anticipated their first interstellar conflict would be to protect another species rather than themselves. In a way, it was fitting. Despite all their secrecy and military buildup, humans still saw themselves as protectors. They had hidden their strength not out of fear or distrust, but out of caution. They had watched other peaceful species throughout the galaxy and learned from their mistakes. "Jump point forming," announced the jump control officer. On the main screen, a hole seemed to open in space near Earth's moon. It started as a pinpoint of light, then expanded into a swirling vortex of energy. "First ship entering jump point," the officer continued. "EDF Relentless, Captain Everett commanding." One by one, the massive Earthships moved toward the vortex. They vanished into it, beginning their near-instant journey across 6 light-years, all their ships away, reported Commander West. Jump point closing. Harrison nodded. Now we wait. But they didn't have to wait long. The quantum communication system allowed near-instantaneous transmission of data, even across vast distances. Within minutes, they received the first images from the Relentless as it emerged near Proxima Centauri. The war room fell silent as they watched the Earth fleet engage the Vexcar ships. Captain Everett had deployed his forces perfectly, catching the aliens by surprise. The first volley from the Earth ships tore through a Vexcar cruiser, destroying it completely. "They're responding," narrated Lieutenant Ellis, watching the tactical display. "Vexcar ships breaking orbit, moving to engage our fleet." The massive Vexcar dreadnought turned away from the colony and began firing at the Earth vessels. Its weapons were powerful, but the Earthship's shields held. "Captain Everett is hailing the colony," reported the communications officer. Harrison leaned forward, watching as the image shifted to show the colony's control room. A female Alteran, Commander Quinn, according to the intelligence briefing, looked shocked as she received Everett's transmission. The expression on her face, so human despite her blue-tinted skin and large eyes, showed a mixture of disbelief and desperate hope. "Earth hasn't been idle these past decades," they heard Everett tell her. "We've been watching, learning, and preparing. The Vexcar are about to discover they've made a serious miscalculation." As Harrison watched the battle unfold, he allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had revealed itself today in a way no one had expected. Not as conquerors or victims, but as guardians, and the galaxy would never be the same. 2 weeks after the battle, the Alteran colony was transforming. Earth engineers had repaired most of the critical infrastructure. The shield dome glowed steady and strong, no longer flickering with imminent failure. New buildings were rising, to replace those destroyed by the Vexcar. And in orbit, a permanent Earth defense station was under construction, its growing framework visible from the colony surface on clear nights. Admiral Scott Harrison stepped off his shuttle onto the landing pad where Lyra Quinn waited. This was his first visit to the colony, having directed operations from Earth during the battle. Now he had come to oversee the final phase of the recovery effort and to address more complex matters. "Commander Quinn," he said, extending his hand. "It's good to finally meet you." "Admiral Harrison," Lyra replied, taking his hand. "Welcome to Proxima Centauri B. Your people have done amazing work here." Harrison nodded as he looked around at the rebuilt sections of the colony. "I'm glad we could help. How are your people recovering?" "Better than expected," Lyra said as they began walking toward the colony headquarters. "Your medical team saved hundreds who would have died without their advanced treatments. And the children are starting to play outside again. That's always a good sign." "Children are resilient," Harrison agreed. "More so than adults sometimes." They entered the headquarters building, which now housed both Alteran leadership and Earth military command for the region. Inside a large conference room, representatives from both species waited. Mason and Talia were there, along with other Alteran officials. Captain Everett and Major Foster represented Earth, along with a woman Lyra hadn't met before. "This is Dr. Abigail Rivers," Harrison introduced the newcomer. "She leads our diplomatic corps for this sector." Dr. Rivers smiled warmly. She was older than most of the Earth officers, with silver streaks in her dark hair. "Commander Quinn, it's an honor to meet you. Your leadership during the crisis was remarkable." "Thank you," Lyra said. "But without Earth's intervention, there would be nothing left to lead." When everyone was seated, Admiral Harrison activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed the Proxima Centauri system, with markers indicating the EU positions of Earth ships and the new defense station. "As of today, Earth is establishing a permanent military presence in this system," Harrison announced. "With your permission, of course," he added, nodding to the Alterans. "You have it," Lyra replied without hesitation. "After what happened, we welcome your protection." Harrison touched a control, and the display changed to show a wider section of the galaxy. Several systems were highlighted in red. "These are the WAR areas where we've confirmed Vexcar activity," he explained. 3 systems attacked before yours, all with significant casualties. Based on data recovered from their ships, we believe they're preparing for a larger expansion. Why? Mason asked. What do they want? Dr. Rivers answered this question. From what we've translated of their database, the Vexcar consider all purely organic life to be inefficient. They believe their biomechanical nature is superior. They attack other species to gather biological samples and test resistance levels before wider conquest. They were studying us while they killed us, Talia said bitterly. Yes, Dr. Rivers confirmed. And they were sending data back to their central command. They didn't expect significant resistance here. Your colony was supposed to be an easy target. Then Earth arrived, Captain Everett added, and changed their calculations. Admiral Harrison nodded. The captured Vexcar have finally begun communicating with us. They're surprised by humanity's technological level. They had classified Earth as a minimal threat based on our public profile. That was always the point of our strategy, Dr. Rivers explained to the Alterans. For centuries, humans fought each other on Earth. When we finally achieved peace and began exploring space, we made a collective decision. We would advance our technology, especially defensive capabilities, in secret. We would appear to other species as less developed than we truly were. A masquerade, Mason said, understanding. But why keep up the pretense with friendly species like ours? We could have been stronger allies if we'd known your true capabilities. Dr. Rivers smiled, gently. Information spreads even between allies. If we had revealed our technology to you, others would eventually learn of it. We needed potential aggressors to underestimate us. It gave us a critical advantage when conflict finally came. And now? Lyra asked. The secret is out. Now we pivot to a new strategy, Admiral Harrison said. Open strength and mutual defense. The Vexcar will return, not just here but across this entire sector. They're already gathering a larger fleet for a counterattack. The room grew quiet at this news. Finally, Talia spoke. So we won the battle but not the war. Correct. Harrison confirmed. But next time, they won't be attacking an undefended colony. They'll face the combined strength of Earth and any allies who join us. He expanded the holographic display to show more of the galaxy. Several systems were now highlighted in blue. These are the civilizations we've contacted since the battle here, Harrison explained. Many were skeptical about Earth's sudden display of force. But the evidence from this conflict has convinced most that the Vexcar threat is real. We're forming a mutual defense alliance. Will it be enough? Lyra asked. It has to be, Captain Everett said firmly. The alternative is allowing the Vexcar to continue picking off peaceful worlds one by one. Dr. Rivers touched another control, and the hologram changed to show schematics for advanced shield technology and weapon systems. Earth is sharing defensive technology with all members of the Alliance, she said. Not everything. There are still some capabilities we're keeping in reserve, but enough to significantly improve our collective security. Why the change in policy? Mason asked. After keeping these advances secret for so long? Admiral Harrison looked thoughtful before answering. Sometimes protection requires secrecy, but sometimes it requires openness and cooperation. The Vexcar changed the equation. They're too powerful for any single civilization to face alone, even Earth. The meeting continued for several hours as they discussed plans for the defense, alliance, and the rebuilding of the colony. When it finally ended, Lyra walked with Admiral Harrison back toward the landing pad where his shuttle waited. There's something you're not telling us, she said quietly. About the Vexcar. Harrison glanced at her with newfound respect. You're perceptive, Commander. Yes, there is. The Vexcar are not acting alone. They appear to be an advance force, for something larger, something that even Earth might not be able to defeat without allies. What is it? Lyra asked. We don't know yet, Harrison admitted. But whatever it is, it's coming. That's why we need this alliance to work. That's why Earth finally revealed itself. As Harrison's shuttle lifted off, Lyra remained on the landing pad, looking up at the sky where Earth ships moved in protective patterns around her world. For 17 days, her people had broadcast desperate pleas for help, believing no one would come. Then Earth's warships had darkened the skies, bringing salvation instead of destruction. Mason joined her, following her gaze upward. "Do you think we'll survive what's coming?" he asked. Lyra considered the question. 2 weeks ago, she would have said no. But now, watching Earth's powerful ships guarding her world, seeing the determination in Admiral Harrison's eyes and the skill of people like Captain Everett, she felt something she hadn't expected to feel again. Hope. "Yes," she said finally, "because we're not alone anymore. And neither is Earth." In the darkness of space beyond the Proxima Centauri system, a Vex-Car scout ship that had escaped the battle watched from hiding. It recorded the growing Earth presence, the defense station under construction, the repaired colony. It observed the shuttles moving between planets as the Alliance took shape. Then, following its programming, it turned and accelerated away from the system. It had data to deliver, a report to make. Earth was no longer hiding in the shadows, pretending to be weak. Earth had revealed its strength, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Vex-Car leaders would need to prepare a much larger force for their return, and they would need to hurry before this new alliance grew too strong. The scout ship entered jump space, vanishing in a flash of light, but it was already too late. Earth's warships were spreading throughout the sector, darkening the skies above, world after world, not as conquerors but as protectors. The message was clear to friend and foe alike. Threaten peace in this corner of the galaxy, and you would find yourself facing the combined might of Earth and its allies. A new era had begun. Mason Clark stood with Commander Lyra Quinn at the colony's landing pad as the first Earth medical ship descended through the atmosphere. The sight of the sleek craft, far more advanced than anything he had seen from Earth before, still seemed unreal to him. After 17 days of watching his people die, help had arrived from the most unexpected source. The ship touched down gently, its engines humming rather than roaring as Alterran ships did. A ramp extended, and humans in white medical uniforms began to emerge carrying equipment and supplies. "I still can't believe it," Mason said quietly to Lyra. "Earth ships defeated the Vex-Car in less than an hour. How is that possible?" Lyra shook her head. "I don't know. In all our dealings with humans, they never showed any signs of having this level of technology. They asked us questions about our engines and weapons as if they were trying to learn from us. They were studying us," said Talia Rivera, joining them at the edge of the landing pad. "All this time we thought we were the advanced species sharing knowledge with them, but they were hiding their true capabilities." A tall woman with short black hair approached them from the Earth ship. She wore a uniform different from the medical staff, with insignia that marked her as an officer. "Commander Quinn?" she asked, extending her hand in the human greeting gesture. "I'm Major Nicole Foster, Earth Defense Force Medical Division. We've brought supplies, equipment, and 50 medical personnel. Just tell us where you need us." Lyra clasped the human's hand. "Major Foster, we're grateful for your help. Our main medical facility is overwhelmed with wounded. We've had to set up temporary care centers in 3 other buildings as well." Major Foster nodded. "We'll split our teams accordingly. We've also brought portable shield generators to reinforce your colony's defenses while repairs are made." As they spoke, more Earth ships were landing across the colony. Some carried medical supplies, others had engineering teams with equipment to repair the damaged infrastructure. In orbit above them, Earth vessels continued to secure the area, their sensors scanning for any remaining Vex-Car ships that might have escaped the initial battle. "Major?" Mason asked hesitantly. "If you don't mind me asking, how did Earth develop such advanced technology without anyone knowing? We've been sharing scientific knowledge with your people for decades." Major Foster smiled slightly. "That's a conversation for the diplomatic teams. They'll be arriving shortly. For now, let's focus on helping your wounded." She turned away to direct her medical teams, making it clear the subject was closed for now. Talia leaned closer to Lyra and Mason. "They're not going to tell us everything. And maybe that's fair. We wouldn't have shared all our secrets with them either. But we did." Mason pointed out. We shared our propulsion technology, our shield designs. We thought we were helping them advance. And maybe they used what we gave them to improve their own technologies, Lyra suggested. But that doesn't explain ships that can travel 6 light years in 2 weeks, or weapons that cut through Vexcar shields like they weren't even there. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of another Earth ship. This one was smaller and sleeker than the others. When its ramp lowered, a single human emerged. He wore a dark blue uniform with more decorations than the others they had seen. That must be Captain Everett, Lyra said, recognizing the name from their communication during the battle. The Earth captain approached them with confident strides. He was not a particularly large human, but he carried himself with undeniable authority. His eyes scanned the destruction around the landing pad, taking in the burned buildings and craters from Vexcar weapons. "Commander Quinn," he said as he reached them, "I'm glad to finally meet you in person." "Captain Everett," Lyra replied, "I don't know how to thank you. Without Earth's intervention, we would have been destroyed completely." Everett nodded grimly. "The Vexcar have attacked 3 other peaceful species in this sector over the past year. None of the others received help in time." He looked around at the damaged colony. "You're the lucky ones." "Lucky," Mason repeated, the word feeling strange. With thousands dead and their colony in ruins, luck was not what he felt. But then he looked at the Earthship's landing, bringing help and hope, and understood what the captain meant. They had survived. Others had not. "Captain?" Talia asked, her security officer's curiosity evident. "Why did Earth hide its military capabilities? All this time? We thought we were more advanced than humans." Everett studied her for a moment before answering. "Earth has a long history of conflict. When we began exploring beyond our solar system and encountered other species like yours, we made a decision. We would present ourselves as less advanced than we were, at least militarily. We would learn about the galaxy, form alliances, and prepare defenses, just in case." "In case of what?" Mason asked. "In case we encountered hostiles like the Vexcar," Everett replied simply. "Humanity has always believed it's better to have capabilities and not need them, than to need them and not have them." He turned to Lyra. "Commander, I need to inspect the Vexcar wreckage that fell within your colony. Our teams are examining their ships in orbit, but any ground-based technology could provide valuable intelligence." "Of course," Lyra agreed. "Talia can show you where the largest pieces landed." As Talia led Captain Everett away, Mason turned to Lyra. "Do you trust them?" he asked quietly. Lyra watched the humans working efficiently around them, setting up medical stations and beginning repairs on critical infrastructure. "They came when we called," she said finally. "They risked their lives for us. For now, that's enough." In the colony's makeshift hospital, Dr. Alan Foster, Major Foster's brother and the chief Earth physician, worked alongside Alterran medical staff. The differences in physiology between humans and Alterrans presented challenges, but the Earth medical team had come prepared with detailed biological information that surprised the Alterran doctors. "You seem to know a lot about our biology," noted Dr. Vero, the colony's chief medical officer. Dr. Foster nodded as he calibrated a device that was accelerating the healing of an injured Alterran child. "Earth has been studying your species for years. We believed that understanding your physiology might be critical someday." "For a moment like this," Dr. Vero realized. "Exactly," Foster confirmed. "Knowledge saves lives." Outside the medical facility, Earth engineers were already working to repair the colony's power grid. Their technology was unlike anything the Alterrans had seen before. Where Alterran engineers would have taken weeks to restore power, the humans were estimating days, perhaps even hours, for essential systems. High above the colony, aboard the relentless, Lieutenant Diaz reported to Captain Everett via secure communication. "Sir, we've captured 5 Vexcar alive from the disabled dreadnought. They're in secure containment. Initial scans indicate they're biomechanical, as our intelligence suggested. Partly organic, partly machine." "Any communication attempts?" Everett asked. "They refuse to speak," Diaz replied. but their ship's database is intact. Our tech teams are working to decrypt it now. Good, Everett said. Keep me updated and maintain alert status. The Vexcar we defeated here may have sent messages before we arrived. We need to be prepared if more of them show up. As night fell over the colony, Earth ships continued to arrive. The sky above Proxima Centauri b, which had been dominated by Vexcar warships for 17 terrible days, was now filled with Earth vessels bringing aid and protection. Mason stood on the roof of the communications tower, watching the lights of Earth ships moving against the stars. Beside him, Lyra looked up at the same sight. "Do you think they would have revealed themselves if we hadn't been attacked?" she asked. Mason considered the question. "I don't know. But I think Earth was preparing for something like this for a long time. And now the whole galaxy will know their true strength," Lyra said. "Yes," Mason agreed. "And any species thinking of attacking peaceful worlds will have to wonder if Earth's warships might suddenly darken their skies too."